It was once said, if slavery is not wrong, then nothing is. Well, today, I want to leave you with this, using the whole idea of social justice. If abortion, the killing of an innocent, helpless, and voiceless child, is not wrong, then nothing is. It is up to you and Clarence James Campbell, an heir to the Procter & Gamble fortune. One would think that if you're selling soup, it might be a little bit more profitable for you to have more people to eat your soup, but that's just me. Too many of the wealthy elites put their money towards programs that fund the culling of the black population. Even today, consider the fact that Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Ted Turner all donate millions and millions to population control programs. But it didn't stop with Elaine Riddick. Many poor blacks were told if they didn't get the sterilization and have their children sterilized as well, they would lose their welfare. Well, then along came the birth control pill. Originally, the eugenics movement hoped that it would be used by blacks, but to their unpleasant surprise, it was embraced by whites. The blacks didn't want to reduce their population and give up what little control that they did have. They were then calls to put birth control into the water system and then have blacks and the poor come and have to petition to the government in order to have the right to get pregnant. And I'm not making this stuff up. This is what was happening in America in the 60s, that era. And I know some of you may be wondering, why am I talking about this? And I'm getting to my point. The next level of extermination of the movement is, as we all know, abortion. This is what they considered the final solution. And I'm sure most of you are familiar with that term, or at least you should be. If they weren't going to kill the blacks after we were born, they were going to get it while they were still in the womb. Did you know that before Roe v. Wade, there were 5 whites having abortions to every 1 black having an abortion? Before 1973, the black family was as intact as the white family in America. And keep that in mind, because after 1973, it all changed. Now, I just want to read you a few statistics from an article from my dear friend that I love and is truly amazing, Reverend Walter Hoy. He does the Personhood movement, and he's also Frederick Douglass Foundation of California leader. In 1973, over 14.5 million black babies have been killed by abortion. That's 1,200 black babies a day. Blacks account for 13% of the population, but 30% of the total abortions since 1973. And today that number has risen to 37% of all abortions in the country that are performed on black women and their preborn children. Abortion alone accounts for 3 times more death in our community than HIV/AIDS, violent crimes, accidents, cancer, and heart disease combined. I cannot wait. My people are dying. According to the Allen Guttmacher Institute, the research arm of the Planned Parenthood, black women are nearly 5 times as likely as non-Hispanic women to have an abortion. My people are dying. Also, according to the Guttmacher Institute, since 1973, more black babies have been killed by abortion than the total number of black Americans killed from all other combined causes. My people are dying. These numbers are no surprise considering that 60% of all Planned Parenthoods are strategically located in black communities. Our people are dying. Today, for every 100 black babies born alive, there are another 77 black babies killed by abortion. I cannot wait. Our people are dying. According to the Tuskegee Institute, between 1882 and 1968, 3,446 Negroes were lynched by the KKK in the U.S. Today, abortion in the black community kills more black Americans in less than 3 days than the Ku Klux Klan could kill in 86 years. Did you hear that last stat? Planned Parenthood kills more blacks in 3 days than the KKK managed to do in 86 years. In New York City, for every 1,000 black babies born to teens, 1,686 are aborted. And for blacks of all ages, for every 1,000 live births, there are 1,288 aborted. In other words, people are dying. And to paraphrase Reverend Johnny Hunter and many other black pro-life leaders, the most dangerous place for a black baby is in his mother's womb. This overt racism behind the drive to cull black people in the womb didn't just disappear when Bill Clinton became president and the black liberals loved him because he plays saxophone, loves fried foods, and cheats on his wife. Nope. One of his Supreme Court appointments, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, said in 2009 in a New York Times interview, quote, "Frankly, I thought that at the time Roe was decided, there was concern about population growth, and particularly growth in the population we don't want to have too many of. Our Supreme Court Justice sober description of abortion as a tool to eliminate people from society that society doesn't want is eerie similar to Margaret Sanger's description of weeds, or to pull the weeds, meaning black people, from society." So Sanger went to the pastors in the black church and convinced them to be frontmen for the eugenics movement. Soon you'd hear them give pro-eugenics sermons. With Rockefeller money, they formed the RCAR, or the Religious Coalition of Abortion Rights. The name was changed in 1993 to the Religious Coalition of Reproductive Choice. The dean of the historical black college, Howard University's Divinity School, is the chairman of the board. If you go to their website, they've got articles demanding that FDF member and niece of Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s Alveda King, which is his niece, cease calling abortion genocide. They have another article calling it a racist campaign against women of color. Think about that. If you say something like, black women shouldn't kill their babies, they call you a racist, even if you're black. How does Satan whip up logic like that with a straight face? Did you know that in the early days of abortion, before blacks were killing themselves in brown buildings with tinted glass that prevents the outside world from seeing what's going on, so-called civil rights people like Jesse Jackson were pro-life? The Nation of Islam, the Black Panthers, they were all pro-life. But then that Rockefeller money started to flow like the oil that made it, and these leaders committed treason on their own people. They sold us out. And look at the shape of the black family in America today. But it's not just here in America. The United Nations actually refuses to contribute aid to nations that are in need after a natural disaster unless they approve birth control and abortion. When doctors go to clinics to set up in these nations, the supply rooms have tons of medicine and equipment for birth control and abortion, but nothing that will help actually deliver a baby. This is what our international aid dollars are funding. It's easier to feed the needy when there are a lot fewer needy mouths to feed. Listen, I could go on and on and on regarding this, but I just wanted to give you a taste of some of the educational truths that we at Frederick Douglass Foundation use as an educational foundation in our efforts to help America realize the real history and the real motivations behind the genocidal plague that has killed 50 million people here in America in the last 40 years. 50 million people are a lot. Those are dictator numbers. It was once said, if slavery is not wrong, then nothing is. Well, today, I want to leave you with this, using the whole idea of social justice. If abortion, the killing of an innocent, helpless, and voiceless child, is not wrong, then nothing is. It is up to you in this